Hey everybody, it's Seti the Wind Sage, and welcome back to Let's Play Kindred Spirits on the Roof. In the last episode, we took care of the actually pretty darn short kitty events, and in this episode, we're going for Souno's events. Yeah, honestly, I'm surprised it was still as short as it was. Like, maybe they'll have extra scenes that pop up after a certain context, but like, yeah, Kitty only had 2. I'm surprised. Again, I feel it's kind of reasonable. They did have a pretty decently paced story in main game, which is, I guess you can say, debatably better than you can say for some of the other ones, where they showed up at a pretty early-ish enough point, and you know, they kind of their arc ended at a pretty late-ish enough point. So I guess I feel it in a way does kind of make sense. That being said, these were the events that I was actually kind of looking more forward to. Again, when the character is more of the secondary character in the relationship. That being said, yes, I know Souno has her own set of cherry events, and those are debatably my favorite of their relationship. Kitty is, I feel, kind of the more central character to the relationship. Like, you see her point of view a bit more, and you know, seeing it for Souno, I feel would probably be a bit, seeing her point of view on things, especially like the before they hooked up phase, I feel it'll be pretty interesting. So yeah. That being said, I wonder where we are in the story, because I see the CG right here. If Nina, like, jumping out of, Hina, like, jumping out of the window. So it makes me wonder if they already had, that, like, if she had already confessed at that point, so. What was the last cherry event for these guys? Okay, it was probably So It Was Love 3. So, yeah, it happens a few days before that. So, oh wait, so this is actually probably when Kitty's avoiding her. That being said, these might not inherently be around Kitty. These are Souno centered, so we might see some of her interactions with some of the other students, which, it'll probably be interesting. She does pretty much put up, like, she doesn't even really put up a front. She does really, like, she does really put emphasis a lot on her being the teacher, because, she kind of wants that respect, I guess. So yeah, let's dive right in. You know, this promises to be kind of an interesting interaction, the sort of delinquent kid and the teacher. They're like, you know, Koba's not too much of a delinquent, but I guess that's the closest I guess I can relate it to. I guess. I think no, not really. She's not really a delinquent. She's just, she just kind of has the whole rock and roll thing going on. And her trope is more towards the kind of the idiot rather than the delinquent. Okay, I don't mean that in a mean way, but man, Koba sometimes can be pretty dumb. We've got the wrong idea about rock. That's also, I guess you could say, kind of a bit of an age, kind of like thing of the like you know, that's an interesting bit of letting her kind of having her age show, because she has this very like very specific image of like rock and roll. So yeah, that's actually an interesting little touch. I bet Kitty'd be pissed as hell at me if I bothered you. You like that? You know what? She would be pretty darn pissed. Like yeah, she'd be pretty darn pissed, I guess. like not enough to like. I don't know. Definitely enough to probably just rant straight at Koba's direction. That's a little dramatic, isn't it? Yeah, it kind of is. Well, no, not really. In this instance, this is kind of a bit of a, I guess you'd call it a paradigm shift for her. Like, it would be quite a shocker to her upon the realization. But that's a little dramatic, isn't it? Either way, like whether you see it as kind of dramatic or not, it fits Kitty pretty well. But then again, I don't think it quite is too dramatic this time. It does seem like, at least like, just suddenly realizing her feelings about Souno. I can get why that certainly would catch her off guard. Oh, there's actually a sprite for nosebleeding. I didn't notice that for a split second because usually, you know, I'm reading, but yeah. Well, one step at a time, right? No. Hey, you know, baby steps, baby steps. Can't expect big change out of person all at once. Okay, so that's one scene done, so I assume the next one's in here. Nope, but there actually is one here. I'm a teacher after all. Alright, so once this one takes place in the context, just kind of looking. Has Operation Sparkling Sunshine happened yet? Okay, no. This was before that. So so we're in that, I guess you can call it that awkward phase. We're in kind of that awkward phase right now. Of after Kitty said her feelings and Souno said the whole thing about the misunderstanding, and before Operation Sparkling Sunshine. So, like, we're in that kind of awkward phase of it. But hey. Anyway, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher after all. So yeah, let's dive in, shall we? I imagine there's going to be a little bit of talk about that. Also, I feel like that little interaction with Koba and Souno was actually an interesting little conversation. It is again the thing of the kind of delinquent character and the teacher, and it was a pretty interesting take on it. Again, Koba's not too much of a delinquent, so it wasn't like, it didn't play like exactly how you think that sort of conversation would, but yeah, it works out. And it does show like her general like sincere concern for like Kitty, or her like the fact that she cares for Kitty. Not in a romantic sense at this point, I guess, but yeah. Man. Is she really tall enough to drive that? Okay, yeah. I was holding that comment in for a little bit. It's just like, she's so small. Like, ignoring the fact that she looks kind of young aside, because I've just kind of, you know, I grow to accept it, and but like she's just like so small though. Like I guess maybe it's not too bad. Again, Kitty is pretty tall, so like looking at her in relationship, but like Aki's also here, and Aki's generally relatively Aki's generally relatively the same height as Kitty, but you know, Kitty's definitely taller, but so regardless, just like Souno looks very small in comparison, but yeah. She doesn't look like she'd necessarily be tall enough to drive. I could be wrong though. No, I definitely am wrong. She definitely does say like she definitely like does drive. So it's like this. Maybe she's just not as small as I keep imagining her to be, and I'm probably just overreacting a bit. Oh man, that is also kind of an interesting scene for Souno actually, because like, you know, she is said to have like a kind of casual relation, like students tend to approach her like more casually. I became a teacher, but you know, students tend to approach her a little more casually than most other teachers. But I think this is the first time she's really just kind of being talked down to in a bit, where, you know, she's kind of being the one getting lectured and all that, which, you know, I say that there's no problem with, but it also just kind of shows a little bit of, you know, kind of exactly what bothers her. She has this kind of, she has this sort of she has this view of being a teacher and being an adult, and she feels she doesn't live up to that view of, she doesn't feel that she lives up to that sort of view, I guess. And it's very funny how it's just like, it's very funny the irony of just like, you know, you have character, you have people like Adi who's like, let me help, and she's just like, no. And you know, she looks at them as they're like being very stubborn, but at the same time, she's debatably even more stubborn than them. So it's interesting. Anyway, this one is this one after their own? Okay, so this one is literally the day after this event right here. So anyway, so they've hooked up at this point, but at the same time, maybe it's because Audio was there, but the fact that this took place before Operation Sparkling Sunshine, there didn't seem to be any sort of tension between them. It's as if nothing happened. Again, maybe it's because Audio was there, but or maybe their relationship was still pretty stable after the fact, I guess. Who knows? It did seem to imply that there was a bit of awkwardness between them, but maybe it wasn't so bad. Anyway, let's dive right in. Their sausage is kind of throwing her a lifeline, I guess. I guess it does make sense that you wouldn't really like say anything while the recorder's just going, so. Ah, man, I wish I could just do the conversions in my head, but nope. Maybe I'll look them up later, but yeah. How much is 156 centimeters? You know what? In just kind of a traditional fashion of mine, I'll look it up right now because I know if I look it up later, it's gonna be so. 156 centimeters. 5'1". Okay, nope. I'm going to call a little bullshit on that. 5'1". No, I just like, like I do not believe it, because here's the thing, like Kitty mentioned her own height. Kitty mentioned her own height. Kitty mentioned her own height. Last episode, and she said she was around 170, and that's 5'6". So it's like, seriously, I doubt she's 5'1", honestly. It seems everyone else is the exact same. Yes, thank you for the harsh reminder. Okay, so oddly, that does oddly give me a good reference. Wow, Souno is freaking tiny. Yeah, she has to be less. She has to be like less, like she has to be less than 5 feet. And now she's just keeping going to. Now she's trying to change the subject. Okay, so that athlete puts a good sense of that athlete is kind of a good bit of backstory for her. Wow, even Nana's caught off guard. Or at least that caught her interest. And yeah, she goes with the, I guess you could say, the very typical answer. Oddly no, in here I thought she was also talking about Katie. That does sound like one of those just... It does sound like one of those things where just, really, you just kind of said that. I guess you could say it sounds a bit cheesy. I guess that she was also talking about Katie a bit too, but yeah. And that was a nice event, and wait, we're still going? Call me a smidge off guard. But yeah. I wonder when this happens in this where we are at this point in the story. Okay, so Festival Eve 2, so I'm going to assume that their event hasn't happened quite yet. Let's see. They only had the one event yeah, the math club and the school festival. Okay. So that hasn't happened yet. But I'm a little shocked we're actually still going. I'm a little shocked we're actually still going. Cause like, wait, you mean you mean you mean she gets more than just 2? More than just 3 in this case, but yeah. Is this her 3rd or is this her 4th? Like, I don't know. This is her 4th. Anyway. Yeah, so yeah, that kind of makes sense. Even when things don't really change, whenever, like, because I imagine they'd only still kind of recently became a couple at this point, or they've only been dating for a little bit. Like, you know, well, whenever you're in a relationship with someone, like a special relationship with someone, even and especially if that relationship's changed in any way, like from them going from like teacher student and friends to kind of lovers or just girlfriends, it's even the little things when you do with that person can be seen as a little different, even if it's the exact same. Okay, that was another really cute scene, honestly. And honestly, it's that scene that also does a pretty good job describing why I kind of love the couple so much. Again, I might do an overall opinions piece on the couples later on, but I might as well talk about a little bit of it right now. Where honestly, I like Sono's growth throughout the relationship. Kiryu grows too, to be sure, but I feel Souno definitely goes through a bit more of the growth there, and that last scene kind of cements the kind of last bits of her growing, honestly, because well, in that moment, you see that, like, you see the things she says, like how it's kind of a bad thing that they got together, how she should have not have responded to Sono's feelings. And you know, that's the kind of the logic in her ideal, that's kind of her logic and her ideals kicking in. Those are just kind of her moral values, and frankly they're working against her. It's kind of also the same things that just kind of gave her this image of how adults should be, how they should always be caring for the kids, how the kids shouldn't like have to have as much concern for them, how she always says those things about when the kids are caring for her, how it seems like a backwards logic. Like that's her ideals. But at this moment you see how it finally just kind of kicks in, like she no longer, it's not to say she doesn't care anymore, but it's like the love she found makes her see past that, and to her it's worth it. She still feels like she's doing something bad, but she at least now can kind of see past that, at least a little bit. And honestly, that's a very, I feel, interesting growth for the character. That being said, I think I'm going to end things off here. Next time on Kindred Spirits on the Roof, I don't know whose parts I'm going to be going after next. It's either going to be the Kindred Spirits or Yuna and Hina. I might just leave that up for you guys to decide. I guess you'll see whether or not I record, because I don't think I'll record them right now. I have just recorded 3 parts in a row, mind you, but yeah. I guess we'll see what happens when we get there. So, yeah. See you guys then.